Well, hello and welcome to episode 242 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. Michaela, we have Predator Badlands coming out. Coming out. It already came out, but we are going to see it here in just a couple of hours. I am very excited for it because I love Predator. It is one of the greatest action films of all time, by my likening. I don't know if you feel the same, but we're going to find that out together. So, Michaela, are you excited to talk about Predator? Get to the chopper. Come on,
Get to
choppa.
the copter. Get to the chopper. Yeah. I think I was a little late, which is weird because I was all in on Arnold Schwarzenegger in the late 80s. I loved him in Commando. I
Hmm
loved him in The Terminator, right? I mean, when he went and tried to, be nice and do Kindergarten Cop, I was all in. Predator, I think my dad, for some reason, felt that this was a bridge too far. And so I didn't remember seeing this. I know, shocker. I think that
hmm
I didn't remember seeing this until maybe the mid 90s. And then I was like, oh my gosh, where has this show been all my life? Because it's real good, real interesting. And it definitely spawned an entire world that now they have. I mean, they have, I don't know, 18 movies about, and we're going to go see the latest one, right?
hmm
There's books and comics, and there's all sorts of, I remember a video game where we had to go shoot all the predators. It was like an arcade game, I want to say. Then that was really hard because I'm bad at that, or it was just hard. I don't know. But I
Yeah.
mean, it
No
just became a
Dutch.
whole
You
thing.
you
Yeah,
are.
no
No
Dutch.
Dutch. Dutch could do it for sure. Yeah, it became a whole
Yeah.
thing. Absolutely. It does. It's spawned this whole world, which is kind of interesting because we're going to take a look kind of at the legacy piece of this as we go through it too. But what we need to do first, Michaela, is we need to mix up a cocktail that is worthy of this monumental film, I guess. In a way that only we could here on the podcast, and special help from YouTube channel we're going to make mention of too. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and grab some Jägermeister. Let's grab an energy drink, and we'll be right back to mix up this week's drink.
So Brian, I feel like I need to explain myself. I'm having to do that a lot lately
Sure.
when we
So
talk about these
explain yourself.
drinks.
Explain yourself.
So listeners, let me tell you a story. Gather round,
Weave a tale, if you will.
move a tale. So
I feel
Predator
like I was
has,
ambushed, just like Dutch
yeah,
from
you
Dylan
were.
on our mission.
Yep, yep. And but see, unlike Dylan, I'm at least going to apologize and be like, dude, I'm sorry. So Brian, this is my public apology to you for making you drink this drink. Not because it's not good and not because it's not like appropriate. Just because it sounds like something a 22-year-old would like in
Hmm
college. And, I'm probably not wrong. We're probably not wrong. But what I wanted to do was kind of create something that would pay homage to the Predator itself, but also be something that was probably not terrible tasting. And I have to say that you can look at these ingredients and shake your head, but it didn't taste terrible. Partly because it's mostly pineapple juice and this energy drink. And if you like energy drinks, then it's going to be fine. Now, this particular recipe comes from the spirits cocktails, which you can find on YouTube, and it's called the Predator's Blood. And it required a neon energy drink. Unfortunately, I think neon also had cocaine or something in it. Don't sue me if that's not true. That is a joke. But either way, neon energy drink is this neon green color, which was also the Predator's Blood. So it looked kind of amazing in
hmm
the original video of this. And so that's why I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Now, I am an old person. I don't drink a lot of energy drinks. I had no idea that neon energy drink didn't even exist anymore, that it hasn't existed for 10 years. So don't kill me. But yeah, Brian, this has a energy drink in it. I'm sorry.
It
Sorry
does.
in advance.
Has an energy drink in it. We just did a Red Bull and vodka a couple weeks ago for Tron as well. So we're doubling down on the energy drinks here. But yeah, I mean it's a lot of ingredients that you might look at and say this is what you drink on a night out that makes you swear off drinking forever. And you're going to
Yep.
go ahead and put this into a shaker tin with some ice as follows. So a half an ounce of Jägermeister, which is an ingredient I don't believe that we've ever used here on the podcast. A lot of people liken it to things you could think of like a Jaeger bomb, kind of a shot that you do, which is what most people associate it with. It has very sharp, like anise, black licorice kind of taste to it,
Mm,
but it has a really, really complex flavor if you're just drinking it on its own, not in a bomb sort of a situation. If you're just kind of sipping
yeah.
it, it has this really nice complexity to it. And I actually like Jägermeister a lot in really high-end cocktails. I think it gets a pretty bad rap because you only associate it with drinking in all of the terrible ways you shouldn't be drinking things. So a half an ounce of Jägermeister, a half an ounce of the recipe calls for Bacardi 151. They actually don't make that anymore, so you can use any kind of 151. I used a Cruisin' hurricane proof, which is like 138 proof. But basically, you just want to get some higher alcohol something in there. So a half ounce of that, a half ounce of blue curacao, and then 2 ounces of pineapple juice. The blue curacao and the pineapple juice are going to mix together and give you a nice green cocktail. Go ahead and shake that with your ice, and then strain it into a rocks glass with some ice, and then you can top it off with 2 ounces of your energy drink. I picked Monster for mine. It had a green M on it, so I assume that
Hmm.
that seems like something good that the Predator would like. Maybe that's when at the end of the movie when he's punching his buttons there, he was just getting a Monster Energy drink just infused into his system. I don't know for sure. So go ahead and sip that and enjoy it. And I have to say, this was a lot better than the cover read on the book.
Yep, yep. Well, and I accept that as a compliment, Brian, because I have to tell you, listeners, he literally, Brian sent me a picture of these two ingredients and was like, "What, Michaela, have you done to me?" And I was like, "Look, I'm not happy about it either. Just give it a shot." And I was also pleasantly surprised. Now, I also did not have the Bacardi 151 because it doesn't exist anymore. What I used was a very inexpensive yet lovely bottle, Ron Hacienda Santa Ana cask strength, 138 proof rum there. If you don't have really high proof rum, you do not need to go buy some. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's half an
Right.
ounce.
Hmm.
And really what you want is the rumness that you're going to taste. It's not, you could have expanded this to more ounces if you wanted to. And
Yeah.
if you wanted to, but I mean, for me, it's just adding the hint of the sweetness of that kind of uh, rum kind of liquor feel. It didn't even give you a lot of bite the way that I would think a high proof alcohol would because there's so little in here.
Hmm. Yeah, normally you see 151 in recipes kind of in twofold. Either A, you're going to be just floating a little bit on top and lighting it on fire. You'll see it in that instance. Or you'll see it in some tiki drinks, which are really heavy on the tropical fruit juices, right? Like a greater proportion of fruit juices. And you want the 151 in there so some of that alcohol, like heat, can kind of cut through that. So you can taste it actually, but the amounts here are so small. I don't think that the 151 added anything. I think just like
Yeah.
a blackstrap rum would have been nice, probably in this. Maybe even like a spice rum would have been okay in this. I don't think that the 151 necessarily added anything, but I don't think that it
Yeah.
took away anything either. So I think that it's okay from that stance. The Jägermeister, which I mentioned, has this black licorice anise kind of flavor, and I think that that flavor, whether you love it or hate it, I think that that pairs up really nicely with pineapple, kind of in this contrast there. It's kind of an interesting flavor in the mouth, so I really like that combination of the two. The energy drink, I don't know. I don't drink energy drinks on the regular. I don't know if that added anything, took anything away. You could probably skip it and just have the pineapple juice, or maybe do an extra, ounce or something of the pineapple juice, or maybe toss in a little bit of orange juice and make this more of a tiki type of a thing. I don't know, but yeah, I thought that the flavors here were pretty good. I'm not gonna, beat down the door to have another one, for sure, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I tried this a couple of different ways because, like you, I went to look, you know, it's for a neon energy drink. And they didn't have it. So I tried both the regular Monster and then Monster makes this green paradise um, drink that looked like it was going to be a lighter green color, which I wanted because the whole idea behind this was to make this bright neon green kind of thing. And because neon energy drink was a big component of that, that kind of shines through. If you look at our pictures, it's a darker green, which is fine, but not quite what I think was originally intended. So I went with the lighter one, but I also tried it without the energy drink at all because my martini glass got real full after the 3.5 ounces. I mean, because that's really, I didn't want to overfill it. So there was no way I
Mhm.
was going to be able to add a whole 2 ounces and keep it in the same drink. So when I drank it, the second time, I didn't add any energy drink into it at all. And it was really good. It was, in my opinion, better because I'm not really an energy drink kind of person. And also, I feel like energy drinks and cocktails disguises some of the caffeine and stuff in an energy drink, and you can drink way too much of it. There's a reason why
Mhm.
a lot of
Yep.
people will go out and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm never drinking, triple Red Bull vodkas again because of one crazy night, and then I was jittery for 2 days." That's because you drink like four energy drinks in one night. That's probably not wise. So if you're really anti-energy drink, then just do the equal parts Jaeger, Bacardi, and the blue curacao. Add some pineapple juice to it and call it a day. It's going to be really good anyway. And I was super surprised at how much, even though you only use a little bit of the Jaeger, how that herbality really shined through and paired so nicely with the pineapple
Mhm.
juice. It really inspired me to think about adding Jägermeister and pineapple juice into something else because it just paired really well. I was very surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the predator's blood. And you know what they say, Michaela? If it bleeds, we can kill it. So let's go ahead and mix up another one of these. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to chat about this week's film, Predator.
20th Century Fox presents Arnold Schwarzenegger. Predator. The hunt begins Friday, June 12th at theaters everywhere.
Spoiler warning for Predator. If you've not seen this film, it's a lot of fun, so you really should. But we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about all the people that die and all the cool stuff that happens, getting to the chopper, getting to the copter, people skinned alive. It's going to be a whole good time here at Drink the Movie. So, if you don't want to hear all of that, you should press pause now, go watch the movie, make yourself a Predator's Blood, maybe without an energy drink, and then come back and we can chat about all things Predator.
Absolutely. So you've had plenty of time to see Predator if you've not seen it yet, because this released in 1987. It was directed by John McTiernan, who you may know from directing films such as Die Hard, which we talked about here on the show. And it stars, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch, the leader of the special ops team sent in on a less than above the board mission by Dylan, who's played by Carl Weathers. There's also the whole team that Dutch is bringing along for the ride, and we'll talk about them as we get into the movie here a little bit. So, Michaela, I have a pretty long history of watching Predator, and we're going to talk about your introduction to the film here in just a little bit. But I wanted to start with this, Michaela. Predator, Oscar nominated.
Yeah. That's a shocker now, but not really, because the visual effects of the Predator are the thing that makes it most terrifying. It's like the coolest part of the whole movie is like what the Predator sees versus what we see when we look at the Predator. And that was pretty amazing considering that that is almost as old as me, that those effects. And I can't disappear into the trees like that.
That's true. Sure cannot disappear into the trees. We don't have that amazing creature design there that led this to being nominated for the Best Visual Effects Oscar for that year in 1988. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Good to know. And yeah, this film is monumental in a lot of ways in terms of kind of the legacy that it led, especially in the 1980s. When you think about a time, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger here in this film of, just all of these over the top, crazy action hero type of things, between stuff like this and Commando, you have, Sylvester Stallone doing stuff like Rambo and things like that. And this really kind of paved the way for what I guess movies were in the 80s in a lot of ways. And The Predator certainly capitalizes on that. So let's talk about the film a little bit here. I don't want to get real deep into the woods, as it were, because we've got this whole team of people coming together, right? So you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger there who's playing Dutch, and he goes to see his old friend. Dylan, right? You get the vibe that they probably had worked together in some sort of capacity, doing some military stuff, covert ops kind of a things. And these two dudes are absolutely ripped. Apparently, a story on the set is they had an ongoing contest to see who would be the more ripped between the two of them. So they kept trying to outdo each other in the weight room, things like that. And I don't think it stopped there because we also have the rest of the team. We have Richard Chavez playing Pancho. We have Sonny Landham playing Billy, Bill Duke playing Mac, Jesse Ventura playing Blaine, and Shane Black as Hawkins. They're going to round out the team, and they are going in to rescue some hostages, or so they think.
It kind of reminds me of kind of a almost a black ops action film at first, right? It doesn't seem to be, other than the first very first scene where we see a ship kind of send out like a light source in onto Earth, right? We totally forget about that in the first like 20 minutes of this because Dutch
Hmm.
is asked by Dylan to go and uh, oversee this mission. They're going to go get some hostages. And Dutch and Dylan are friends, but Dutch already has, it kind of lets the audience know through their interaction that he doesn't go in just to, he's not an assassin team. He goes in because he wants to go and make a difference. And he's there. All these people that he works with, his team is really good at going in and getting the bad guys, but he's not going and doing that just as a weapon. He's not a weaponized team in that sort of sense. It's much more kind of morally driven, I suppose, which is interesting because Dylan is now a CIA agent, and you can tell he gives no cares about that at all. He's like, yeah, we just need to go in here and it just seems a little too good to be true because they're like, we're going to be in and out in 3 hours, no big deal. And they're on this chopper and they're like, and by the way, you're on your own. There's no rescue team. Like, there's a radio that you can make contact with like once a day if things get bad, but good luck, you know? And the team's like, great, this sounds awesome.
Well, good luck, absolutely. And Dutch says, okay, no problem, right? He's the best in the business when it comes to this, and he gets his cast of characters together, and they're flying in on the helicopter. We get to learn a little bit more kind of about these characters that are going in, a little bit about what their specialities are, and I like they each kind of fit kind of a like a prototype, I guess, of someone you would think of. You go back to 1987, you dump out your little like shoebox full of GI Joes, and there's like one of each of these guys in there for sure. But they don't really turn into like caricatures of themselves too much, which I think is what keeps this movie a little bit more grounded than a lot of the other kind of action movies of this time, which makes it a little bit more endearing to me. But they get there, and their first mission is to rescue these hostages, or so they think. I love this so much. It's so like crazy and over the top and hilarious because if there are any hostages in this village, they're all dead now because they blow up like every building. They throw in like 10,000 grenades. Arnold Schwarzenegger like picks up a car and like throws it into a building that explodes. It is so insane. Like if you're a hostage, duck and cover because good luck getting out of here.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because we see one of the hostages just get like assassinated right in front of him, and that's when he's
Mm.
like, "All right, screw it, let's all go in." Like they're just gonna kill him. So
Guns blazing.
there's only one person that actually makes it out alive, and it's this girl who, at the time, everybody thinks only speaks Spanish. Um, and but what this team finds is that as they're looking at this stuff, right, there was a helicopter that was outfitted for surveillance that was supposed to have the hostages in it, and that doesn't make sense because that's not what Dutch was told. It turns out that this entire like cabinet minister story was just this ruse to convince Dutch and his team to eliminate all of these camps, like all the people that in this camp, and prevent some sort of Soviet sponsored invasion. You got to remember this is 1987. We still hate Russia as America, so I guess this makes it okay. But it creates this huge tension between Dutch and Dylan because Dutch was like, I trusted you, and you should not you should have told me the truth. But that's when we realized that Dylan is actually pretty afraid, and he wanted this team assembled because the original mission team disappeared, and they were like also Green Berets, and they were also really good at going in and cleaning house, so to speak. And they have been missing, and all they find is this pool of weird blood and body parts with like dog tags. And they're like, that's what happened to the leader of that crew. But we would like to figure this out, and it just starts to take a very different turn. It starts off to me as this like political action movie and turns a corner right here. And I really love the way they set it up because it doesn't seem too contrived to me at all.
Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't seem too contrived. Like it seems like something, I guess. Well, I mean, it seems contrived for sure, but it seems like something that could happen in some sort of like military sense, I guess, kind of a thing in this film here. But yeah, it turns very quickly from being that to a film about being hunted, which is I think was like the working title for the film was like hunted or a hunter or something along those lines because the jungle is quite literally coming to life, and we keep getting a little bit of clues along those lines. And the first one of those clues is Anna, who you mentioned. She's the only one who's kind of left alive at this camp. I don't know if she was meant to be a hostage in this situation, if she was like a local like woman who, wrong place, wrong time, if she was like there was someone, if she was part of this group, I don't know for sure, but she's played by Elpidia Carrillo, and I want to make a shout out to her because you'd assume kind of watching this that she was just kind of plucked out here to be in this film by John McTiernan, but she'd already been acting quite successfully in Mexico for about 10 years up to this point, and she has like a crazy amount of credits to her name. She's still acting and stuff like all the way up to like Blue Beetle, which came out like
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year. So all the way, still going strong. Good on you. Elpidia and Creo. And she's very scared and she knows like from the get-go, she's like the jungle is coming alive. We have a legend here. We're all going to die. You guys are a bunch of idiots if you think otherwise. Good luck. Thanks for bringing me along with you to my own death. And that's basically what's going to happen, right? We see the team being systematically hunted down by this jungle that is coming alive. And that's going to be like the crux of the movie, right? And it's really coming to terms with this thing that is out there hunting you. What is it? What does it want? Why is it here? Why can't we see it? And how is it going to kill us?
Yeah, which is pretty terrifying when you think about it. I mean, when we first kind of see it, it looks like I don't know, like a watermark on the jungle, right?
Mhm.
And but it's got this weird like light killer thing that shoots a light at you and then like completely can explode inside someone's chest, right? Like we see some pretty gruesome stuff there. Um, and this predator thing, whatever it is, it's real smart. They try to create like a booby trap, right? And end up it's snaring a wild boar instead. And the predator thing uses that confusion to steal a corpse because he likes to skin it and throw it up in the air, which is totally gross and amazing. It's really interesting to me because this came out 10 years after Alien, right? And
Mhm.
so you talk about this contrived story, right? In Alien, they are just a bunch of people on a cargo ship that take go ahead and realize they're not in the right star system, and their ship has inadvertently like gone to see this other ship that had a beacon symbol, right? And this one,
Mhm.
it's like, well, we're in the middle of this storm that we don't want to be in. And to top all of that off, we're also being picked off by this thing that cannot be seen, that has seemingly no conscience because it doesn't care who it's killing, or at least that's the way it looks at the beginning. And then we start to see from its perspective, right? And you get all those heat map signatures when you see whatever this thing is the predator is seeing, and that's real terrifying because there's nowhere you can hide in the jungle if they can see your heat, right? Like you
Mhm.
can't just go into the trees like it does. And so like there's no way. Yeah, El Padilla's character is amazing, Anna, because she's like, we're all going to die. Like you should just accept it now because this thing is just going to take us, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. And so that in its of itself is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it starts to dawn on the team, kind of slowly over the course of this, that what they're dealing with is not entirely of this world, so to speak, right? They're
Right.
obviously they're not able to see it. It is skinning like these people alive. Why would you do that? And they even make mention. They come across, kind of the first group of like helicopter pilots, I think that were there from the first team that got sent in that had been skinned, and some others, and now people on the team are dying, and they're like, why? If these were like local like guerrilla fighters, then they would be taking their radio, they would be taking their weapons. Like, why are they not doing that? What is going on? And you have Anna there who is like petrified, right? Like she sees a couple of these people die right in front of her, and like the big question that the rest of the team has is, well, why isn't she running away, right? Like she could totally get away from us now. This guy is dead. Why is she not running away? And it's because she knows that she's probably better off with this group of mercenaries out in the jungle that is coming to life than on her own. So slowly but surely, it does take over. It does take out everyone. I think you have Blaine, played by Jesse Ventura. He's one of the first ones to go. Billy's his is pretty monumental, right? He's kind of like the tracker of the group, played by Sonny Landham. He's probably my favorites of the cast of characters here in this. He's come to terms with the fact that they're not going to be out with this other entity that is out there, and kind of stands up and stands his ground and sacrifices himself. So I think, kind of in a way for everyone else to potentially get out to the helicopter. Dylan doesn't make it out. No one else is going to make it out here of this thing. And Tor left with Dutch, who, is going to meet his match.
Right. Because the predator doesn't see things the way we do. And we don't know this. Well, we know this as the audience, but he doesn't know this. And so it's only when like an accident happened where he's covered in mud and the predator doesn't kill him. He's like right in front of him and it doesn't kill him, that Dutch starts to think, hey, I bet he can't see me. Because he's real still, like it's as if he's being like a T-Rex is after him, except a T-Rex can also see heat signatures. So he comes up with this plan. He covers himself with mud and he like tries to lure the predator to him. I like this because it's very cat and mouse, but like bigger. Everything is bigger in this movie. There's bigger explosions. There's a lot of they get to this point where the predator removes all of its mask and weapons. I guess it's because he deems that Dutch is a worthy opponent. There's a lot of literature about this where the
Yeah.
predator
Well, he
has
sees he sees Dutch as a worthy opponent, and he does that because he picks Dutch up like by his face, which is pretty scary. Dutch does a pretty good job of keeping his cool there under that circumstance. But he's looking at him, and one of the things we learn is that Anna has not been killed because she doesn't have a weapon, right? She hasn't picked up a weapon, and at this
yep.
point, Dutch no longer has a weapon, or he doesn't have any weapons here, kind of in this final thing. So the Predator, being the truest warrior in the whole galaxy or in the whole universe, whatever the case is going to see that. He's going to think that that's notable, or he's going to think that
Yeah.
that's good, and he's going to get rid of his own weaponry there and fight hand to hand.
Yeah, well, that doesn't go so well because I mean, he's definitely bigger and totally outmatched by the bigger creature, which is not a human. But I do think that it's interesting because this idea, and there's all this aliens versus predators thing, right? And we'll talk more about that, but like, this being is a lot, there's a lot more than meets the eye when we first encounter this being, right? Because you're right. He won't harm you if you don't have a weapon. But if you have a weapon and you've tried to kill it, you're as good as dead. But he also like the creature likes to collect things, right? He collects like skulls and different things, different trophies. So there's like a cultural aspect to the predator that makes this whole thing so much more interesting. And at the end, Dutch tries to create a trap in a tunnel. But of course, the predator is really smart. Um, and, when Dutch goes ahead and triggers the trap itself, there's just this counterweight thing, and the predator kind of gets, I guess we consider it mortally wounded, because it still is something that can be killed, and we see that because we see a lot of its blood everywhere. Um, but it's almost like I don't know, like a warrior's death almost, because he has this wrist mounted thing that we see early on where he's trying to like sew his weird skin back together. And now it apparently also has this like self-destruct device where, I don't really know why he would do that, but I guess it was to maybe save himself from pain or something. But again, this is a
Hmm.
very highly intelligent being that isn't just out to like purely kill everything. And so I really think that helped, that whole group of scenes really helped to spark this idea that there could be way more to this, which spawns the entire universe that we end up seeing in later Predator movies.
Yeah, he sets that self-destruct, and it's basically like a small nuclear bomb goes off. I think Dutch would have been
Gosh,
done for
everything.
because they see it from the helicopter up in the air, right? The helicopter that has gotten Anna out of there, but it lands and it picks up Dutch, and they go about their merry way. It had to self-destruct itself, right? They didn't know that Predator was going to be a whole movie series. We couldn't just have a Predator laying dead in the jungle. Someone would have found it and like, what's this? So I had to, get rid of the evidence of itself. But turnabout is fair play because now we have a lot of Predator films we can talk about. I want to talk about just a couple of kind of like the aspects of the movie that I've always found to be very interesting. Even back from, watching this as a kid, I've always thought that the score for Predator is like off the hook, like way better than it needs to be, than it deserves to be. And it's done by Alan Silvestri, who is probably one of the greatest uh, movie composers of all time. We've talked about a bunch of things that he has done, and we'll be talking about a bunch more things that he's done in the future. But has worked with Robert Zemeckis a lot. So did Back to the Future, did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, did Forrest Gump, Death Becomes Her, The Polar Express. He's got a couple of Oscar nominations for those things. I mean, he's done like tons and tons and tons of stuff, like up to and including the Avengers series. So I mean, dude just makes banger tunes for movies, and Predator is no exception. But one of the things that I've always taken away from Predator, and you do get a lot of like POV stuff from the Predator itself, right? You see like the infrared. I particularly like the one where they've killed like the scorpion, and you see the Predator
Mm,
like pick it up in its hand. And maybe that is why what sets him off in the first place, right? To go get these guys because it killed this little scorpion guy, right? Maybe the Predator took that the
mm.
wrong way. I don't know for sure. But you get a lot of stuff like that. But I've always thought that it was really interesting just how John McTiernan was able to create almost a character out of just the jungle itself, right? Because you don't spend a lot of time with the Predator, right? You see glimpses of him, you see stuff from his POV, but it's not like the Predator is like, on screen a lot, until the end of the film. But really, the jungle, it gives you the vibe that it truly is alive, and I always thought that that was pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the because it's kind of like the Jaws effect. I don't know if that's really the term, but like we don't see the predator until, towards the end when he takes his mask off. And even when you see him take off the cloaking device, right? He has a mask and he's got like this protective gear on. And it's not until he takes all that off where we're like, oh my gosh, and it's not pretty, right? He's very scary looking. But I don't know. I think that entire idea that you're just going to go into a jungle, and even they talk about it, the Billy and Blaine talk about it, that this jungle is different than any other space they've been in, and if they lose it here, then there's really going to be no hope. And this was even before they started really getting hunted. And so again, there's layers of kind of fearfulness. Another aspect of this that I thought was really good was the dedication and friendship that we saw in some of these characters. Because
Mhm.
you're right, while they look like GI Joe people that you would get out of a box or watching a TV show, um, there's a lot of camaraderie that they tended to have, that
Mhm.
I thought was really interesting. Um, Between Mac and Billy, like I believe it was them two that had, one of them was like, "I'm going to avenge your death." Um, oh no, it was between Mac and the guy I just talked about, Bane. It was really
Yeah, Mac and
good.
Blaine. Mhm.
Yeah, Mac and Blaine. And I really thought that was interesting because usually when you get these monster kill 'em all, like that something is hunting us kind of pictures, all these people are over like characterized, kind of melodramatic people, and we don't
Mhm.
see any sort of realness. And you saw that this team was a group of real people that had fought in different scenarios together, and so that they thought this was really going to be like no other, like every other time that they'd fought together. They might get hurt, but they were gonna make it through. And like even, but Mac tells a really great story of how he and Blaine were in this horrible place and they both made it out, and they thought that they would really make it out, and they had no idea what was in store for them in this jungle. And neither did the predator, right? We never understand what the Predator's motivations were, but we
Hmm.
know that it was a lot more than just this killing machine, although it was pretty formidable in that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up Mac, who's played by Bill Duke. He's excellent in this because you have a lot of, over the top kind of, line delivery and things. You have the little quips from Arnold, right? And stick around. I think it's my favorite when he throws the knife through that guy. Um, but Mac, who played by Bill Duke, is so like nuanced and soft spoken in his delivery. I really liked him as a character in this film a lot as well. You mentioned Alien versus Predator, which is a whole like other thing. Following in the footsteps of this thing is a comic book that came out in 1987, which later went on to be motion picture. Right, it was one of those things that got a little bit too convoluted for its own good, I think, and then trying to figure out a way to turn it into a movie. I never saw either of those. I never heard anything particularly good about either of those coming out. The Alien versus Predator films, of which I believe there were two of those, and then we do have some just main Predator sequels. So we get Predator 2, which follows just a couple of years after this one. This film made quite a lot of money, so it was pretty easy to get Predator 2 into production. Had to jump through a little bit of hoops, I think, to get that story to come back, but that really gives birth to, I guess, the lore of the Predator, who is, meant to be held up as, this galactic-wide best hunter in the world, and I think that that still continued to this day. We'll find out for sure tonight when we go and see Predator Badlands and talk about that over on our Patreon. But I think that's kind of the lore of these. They're just a warrior type of creature of being in the galaxy, and we're going to learn more about that. So we get Predators, which came out in 2010, The Predator, uh, which came out in I don't know sometime, and then
2018.
the more recent ones. You've got Prey, you've got Predator Killer of Killers, which is the animated film, and then Predator Badlands tonight. This kind of pseudo trilogy that's being done by Dan Trachtenberg here to tell, tales of the Predator, of kind of the race of these creatures and things like that. And I think that's pretty fascinating. So and it is something that has left definitely a mark in my own movie watching as, something that I probably didn't watch it in 1987, but I probably started watching it when it would have been on TV not too long after that, probably like 1989, 1990, something like that. Michaela, you were a little late to the game, although I will say Commando, way more adult than Predator, I think. Where did you first learn about Predator? Did you watch it like at all? Was it only because I'm like, man, I really like Predator, and then one day you're like, I should watch it? Did you just watch it this week? How did you get into this world?
Well, sure. Yeah, no, it is funny because I totally watched Commando like nonstop as a kid, which is incredibly graphic compared to the stuff that you see in Predator. And yet, I saw Predator probably in the mid 90s. It came out on VHS at one point, and I am sure we bought it because I have it. Yeah, the original VHS is still at my dad's house. So I watched it in the mid 90s, and I thought it was really good. It was Predator 2, I think, that I watched a lot more. And let me be clear, Predator 2 gets kind of raked over the coals, probably rightfully so. I mean, it is not the same kind of movie at all. It's like in a city, the Predator is in New York or some big city. There's a whole like secondary story about voodoo and stuff like that, and it's kind of strange happening. But so it tried to do kind of this two story in one thing that I feel is done very well in the original, and doesn't do so well. But
Mhm.
I watched that a lot more, and so then I don't know. I just really liked the Predator story. It's kind of neat when the jungle tries to kill you. And I was an Alien fan, so when Predator versus Alien came out, I'd heard about the comic, so when it came out, I had to see it. I saw Requiem in 2007. It's I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting. It's such an interesting story of a villain. This villain has kind of a moral compass. This villain is very intelligent, which adds to a layer of its fear. And it's not just in the jungle where it can just take you and kill you. Apparently, it can do it anywhere. So I kind of love that we've gone back and been like, okay, well, what planet was it from? What was it? What was it? Are there a million predators out there? What does that look like? Um, just creates a really interesting kind of idea of I don't know, alienness that's not the, you know, Ridley's Alien.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a whole other world, and it's kind of similar, and it definitely kind of played on those tropes from Alien, and you could kind of see the back and forth between Alien and Aliens, especially through kind of the late 80s here, as they, kind of went back and forth, and then eventually became, potentially part of the same world, potentially not part of the same world, and have each enjoyed their own kind of course here throughout 2025. We saw Aliens. Uh, Alien Earth this year came out on
Yeah.
TV. We've got Predator Badlands in the movie theaters today. New Alien film just last year as well. So yeah, I mean, both of these worlds kind of came into being, right? I think they got pulled out of the same creative melting pot, and then are still around kicking today, 30, 40 years later. So I think that that's pretty cool. And Predator, yeah, definitely ranks amongst one of my favorite action films. And I think that that is the case for a lot of people. It's on a lot of lists of, best action films, best sci-fi action films, all that stuff throughout the years as well. So that is Predator. Let us know if you're making your way out to see Predator Badlands. Let us know if you think Predator 2 with Gary Busey is the bee's knees and Anna is in the movie again for some reason, why she's not staying away, why it's in a dystopian future and Anna is still around. I don't know for sure. But let us know all that stuff. You can do that on our social medias. That's at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to get pictures of our Alien Blood cocktail recipes, episode recaps, all that stuff can be found on our website. It's www.drinkthemovies.com. That's the best place to go. It has links to the merchandise shop, links to Drink the Video Games, links to Patreon. All that stuff can be found there. And the Patreon is patreon.com/Drink the Movies. We do bonus episodes, hangouts, cocktail chats, all sorts of stuff. It is the best place to support the podcast, and we appreciate our patrons over there so much. Michaela, we've got a couple new movies coming out this month, I think, still, and basically new movies for the rest of the year. It's a lot of blockbusters coming our way here over the next, I don't know, 7 weeks of the year. Ah, shit, that pains me to say. This year went slow and fast all at the same time. So, where can they follow along to keep up with all that we've got going on here on the podcast? Our 2 drops a week.
Yeah, we do 2 drops a week. Our lobby bars are usually on Mondays. You can find us on all the social media, almost all the social media, actually, all the good social media. We'll say that. But you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. We're on Good Pods, anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed. You can find our lobby bars are typically on Mondays, and we do a really easy cocktail that anyone, even you, can make and talk about box office stuff, what's going on from a series perspective as well. Then we do our deep dives, like the one you were just listening to. If you like those, there's, gosh, 240 some odd episodes of these. So you can go find a movie that you like. We do a cocktail pairing with it. And usually those are dropped on Thursdays. This is the best job in the world. We get to talk about the movies we love. We get to talk about cocktails that we love or don't love. But that's not all, folks. We also do video games. And by we, I mean Brian. Brian does video games. He does Drink the Video Games. You should go check that out. I pop in to have a drink and then I let him go do his thing. It's really cool. But if you like any of that, you should give us 5-star reviews. You can share us on all your social media stuff because it really helps us build out the community and, yeah, get all the Drink the Movies, Drink the Video Games love out there.
Absolutely. So that is going to wrap it up for episode 242, Predator. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time on
Drink
Drink the
the
Movies.
movies.
I already said stick around. I was going to say stick around.
You did,
And
but
I blew it.
what's a
Blew it.
broke dick dog?
I don't
Because
know.
one of them was like, "It's a
Wow.
broke dick dog." I was like, "I don't know what that
Sounds
means."
sounds sounds bad, I guess.
Yeah, Billy, tell us what that meant, dude, because I don't. I'm lost.
Billy's standing his ground on that tree trunk out there.